Hello, this is Martha, and today I want to make a video regarding two things, but with one main theme. The two things are this solstice coming up on June 20th, and then the full moon in Capricorn happening next week on June 24th. And the overarching theme that I'm feeling called to speak to regarding both of these things is the Cancer-Capricorn balance and the dance between those two, and the need for both in ourselves and in the world. And so in particular, I just made a video, a channeled video specifically for my Patreon members regarding the solstice coming up. And so if you want to hear like that direct channeled message, you can obviously feel free to join me on Patreon. That video is for anyone at the $6 a month level and up. But in general, what I'm feeling with this solstice is, what the solstice is of course the sun entering the sign of Cancer, and it's all astronomically, the moment when the Earth's axis or tilt is aligned with the sun, and the northern hemisphere is essentially, that our axis is leaning into the sun, and on the southern hemisphere, the winter what the northern hemisphere people would call winter solstice is when the axis of the southern pole is tilted toward the sun. So when I tuned into what the energetic of the solstice coming up is on that more of an astronomical but energetic level, the image that I was shown was the legs of a woman spread open, and the energy of us essentially sort of leaning into like her heat or her fire. Not exactly in a sexual way, more like the energy of that. So I was a little confused by what that was about, and why would I feel that. And I realized, the fire, the sun, enters Cancer, which has to do with the womb and the mother. Oh, okay, so that makes sense. But then the other part of what I feel around the solstice is that in my own life, I have had a series of experiences starting about 11 years ago on or around the summer, what in the northern hemisphere is the summer solstice. And really uncanny, profound experiences on or around like June 19th, June 20th, June 21st, or this kind of the week before and after that. Really, just can't deny that there's something unusual about this timing in my life, at least. And there's a lot of folklore about the summer solstice being a time when, the veils between the worlds are more open and that kind of thing. And that's certainly how I have experienced things. And in particular, I've been really drawn and called to spend this time of year a few times in, very, very, very northern parts of the world. So 11 years ago, I went with my family to the part of Scotland where my family is from, and I had a kind of earth-shattering set of spiritual experiences there that opened myself to all kinds of things I hadn't experienced before. And then several years later, I went to Iceland, also with some of my family members. And again, there's, on summer solstice and during that time. And again, it was so magical. And then the year after I went to Iceland, I went back to Scotland and to the island where my family is from. And that time I went by myself, and I was essentially called to go there by the spirit of that place. And I was told very specifically to be there on the night of summer solstice. And anyway, so again, things, that I had a really profound, really mind-blowing kind of experience. And then I've had, being not necessarily traveling, just being here in California where I live, on most years in the last 11 years, I've had some kind of really big spiritual kind of, monumental thing that will happen. Not every year, but a lot of those years. So I've been wondering, okay, what is up with that? I've been wondering that for a long time. So I've been praying on it this week. What is the energetic of that? And that's when I got shown the vision of the woman's legs being open that way. But then also, what I get shown is that when the earth is tilted toward the sun, like this fist is the sun and this is the axis of the earth, when the axis of the earth comes around and essentially clicks with the sun, it's like a moment when for lack of a better way of explaining it, like the skies open up. It's like the magic of this click, it's like suddenly the spirit world, like just again, like quote unquote veils can release, and when the spirit world can suddenly become in alignment with the earth, with us, with our bodies as an earth being, can we have a pole too, just like the earth does. Like our bodies in a lot of ways parallel the body of the earth. And so when we're on the earth and the earth comes into that click and that alignment with the tilt suddenly clicking with the sun, our bodies also parallel that click. And it's a really magical, potentially extremely magical moment if we come into that alignment. So again, I made a longer video just on that, a channeled video for Patreon members, and if you're a Patreon member, you will get that. And if you want to join that, then I would love to have you join. But what I feel called to say is that what I'm being asked to focus on with regard to this solstice and then the full moon coming up in Capricorn is that, number one, the solstice is a reminder to us, when that magic, that click happens with the sun, and then this, like the veils are released. It's a huge reminder to us that we are never alone. We cannot possibly be alone. It's literally impossible. We go through life feeling often, I think, very alone or lonely, and like we are expected to do a lot of things on our own, especially, for those of us in a pretty individualistic society and culture, which I come from and live in. And so I know for myself, I have this expectation that I'm going to do it all on my own, in a sense. And that's just, the spirit world keeps saying to me, nope, you're not doing this alone. That's literally impossible. Don't think you're doing it alone, because you can't and you aren't. And they also keep saying to me, you are following, you're not leading. I mean, I'm leading, but I'm also following. I'm leading by following. And I'm following the calling of God, and I'm following what I'm being, whatever, like the bigger picture of what I'm being asked to do is in concert with and in co-creation with everything, the cosmos, the spirit world, the human world, the earth world, the everything, the earth herself. So again, we're not alone. And so I feel all of these reminders regarding, again, also the fact that we're not alone is partly also a reminder that we need to allow ourselves to feel that we're not alone, and to be held in that reality that we're not alone. And the Cancerian energy, so the sun is entering Cancer, and this Cancerian energy is really has to do with our inner, most vulnerable self, like the most pure, vulnerable, true inner self that is us, like the infant, the baby, it's the womb, but it's also us in the womb. And then the polarity to the Cancer energy is the Capricorn energy. So the Capricorn energy, and then we're having this full moon in Capricorn next week. So we've got the sun entering Cancer and Venus currently in Cancer, and then this full moon coming up in Capricorn, highlighting, this balance between the need to be held, the need to be that infant that we are, and to remember that we are held and we're not alone. And then also the Capricorn energy, which is also us, which is holding us. So we've got, like, we're the infant in the womb, and then we're also the Capricorn wise elder, parental figure, who can provide the care and the structure, the holding space that is necessary for us to let go and even fall apart and cry. Like, Cancer has to do with emotions, and just letting, like, the water of emotions just flow. And that's hard to feel safe to do. The Cancer energy in us needs to feel safe. So a big part of us feeling safe is having this Capricornian energy helping us to remember that we are safe and we are held, and we are, we're also going to take care of the structures that need to be in place in order for us to let go and be that water. So, yeah, I'm just feeling in this time this call to both lean in to that Cancerian, womb space, and then also to remember that we are fully capable of holding ourselves, and of also holding that Capricorn energy at the same time that we are the Cancerian energy. We're both. We're all of it. yeah. And it's okay to be fully both. That's the other thing, is that, you know, again, I feel like we often feel like, speaking for myself, like I need to be more of the holding it together kind of energy, and not ever really let go into the watery, just needing to be held kind of energy. Or if I go into the needing to be held, I go all the way, and then I feel like maybe I'm gonna lose it. And but then I get the reminder, nope, I'm fully doing both. And then the parallel is that the world is doing the holding of us too, and the the cosmos is holding us, and the divine is holding us. And in that channeled video that I did for the Patreon members, part of what came through was this image of, the spirit world said essentially it's like the Russian dolls, like we're every single one of those dolls. We're the teeny tiny most inner one, and then we are the one holding that one, and then we're the one holding that one, we're the one holding that one, and on and on and on and on. And of course, the cosmos and the divine, the source itself, is really also those dolls. So we can let go, and we can know that we are always held. Yeah. So that's the big takeaway that I'm feeling in this time, with this, the magic of this solstice, and then with that full moon in Capricorn coming up next week. Yeah, I think that's everything I felt like I needed to say. So yeah, I would love to hear any of your experiences. I'm really curious, actually, how other people experience solstices. I also love winter solstice. Both solstices for me are really magical. My biggest experiences have been regarding the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. But winter solstice also is really special and really magical for me. And the last thing I'll say is that I've been working on a 2022 journal, and I prayed on what date to start that journal, and because it didn't quite feel right to start with January 1st. So I prayed on it, and not surprisingly, I got told to start with the winter solstice of 2021. So in other words, start with December 21st, 2021, as opposed to January 1st, 2022. And some really beautiful, the journal it's sort of channeled-ish. My other books mainly are purely channeled, but this journal is it's guided, I guess you could say. It's guided, and then it's partly me talking, and then partly the spirit world talking. But this particular, what came through for the winter solstice, was very, very much very guided and basically channeled. So it's really magical, what came through about the energetics of the winter solstice too. And I'll say more about that in another time. But yeah, I know a lot of people loved the journal that I put out for 2020, and I didn't do one for. I started one for 2021, but my kids really needed my attention last year, so I focused on that. But I just wanted to give a heads up that there is a 2022 one very much in the works, and I'm having so much fun working on it. And it'll definitely be ready way before 2022 comes. So I'll say more about that over time. But yeah, feel free to, I would love to have you subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'd love to have you join my email list at livingtheonelight.com. I also do one-on-one sessions, mentoring, longer term mentoring, and I have a Patreon membership, and that's a really affordable way to stay connected with me and to get direct guidance or feedback or support on whatever is going on with your journey. So if that calls to you, or if you just want to support the work that I'm doing, I would love to have you join me for that. Yeah, just stay connected, whatever way you feel called to or whatever feels right for you. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again soon. Happy solstice,